Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 211, The Outsider. This episode aired on January 13th, 2013. It was written by Ian Goldberg and Andrew Chambliss, and was directed by David Solomon. Now, before we get into our chatting about the episode, let's go over a synopsis for The Outsider. In the Enchanted Forest. While in a tavern, Belle hears about a hunting party that is setting out to go after a beast that has been terrorizing nearby kingdoms. Dreamy sees her and thanks her for her advice, and convinces her to go. But after the party leaves her stranded, she uses her book to guide her hunt, and she's able to track the beast. With Mulan's help, they're able to hunt the Yaogwai back to the village, where Belle discovers that it may not be a beast at all, and uses the fairy dust Dreamy gave her to reveal the monster to be Prince Philip. While on her way back to Rumpel's castle, the queen catches up with Belle and captures her to keep her away from her true love. And in Storybrooke, Gold has finally cracked the memory potion that will allow him to cross the town line, find his son, and retain his memories. When Killian finally gets some useful information out of Archie, he tricks Belle and Gold so that he can steal the talisman he needs to keep the Dark One trapped. Meanwhile, the Charmings discuss whether they should be looking for a new home in Storybrooke or fight to return to the Enchanted Forest, and Archie reveals himself to be alive after all. After fighting for control of the shawl, Belle convinces Gold to leave the pirate alive to prove he's not as bad as Killian claims him to be. But once they're at the town line, Killian shoots Belle and forces her to cross the town line, removing her memories. Gold is about to get his revenge when a car comes barreling through, hitting Killian and crashing into a nearby rock. A new outsider has come to Storybrooke.
Uh-huh.
So this episode is going to come with a little bit of content warnings, and just general warnings, mostly for profanity. We know we mark these as explicit, but we might need to drop a few more F-bombs than normal. Also, just saying. Also, with that, our commentary may be harsh, is what I'm thinking. I don't entirely know what Katie's thoughts are yet, but I think we're at a similar wavelength. So just if you love this episode, we genuinely love that for you. We just didn't love the writing, and that's what we're going to focus on. We love you. We didn't love the writing of the episode.
Belle could have done so much better.
That's a constant on this show.
That's a fucking constant. And yes, already the F-bomb, because to the point, I'm at the same emotional level as I was when I watched this days ago. Because I was so annoyed. I was sending voice messages to Lauren of like, dude, what? And I can't talk about it. I can't now. I can, but I couldn't talk about it 2 days ago, and I was angry.
Yeah, because if she were to start telling me things, my response would be save it for the content, sweetie.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about things until we start recording, but I was angry. What was the one thing I said? I did say something, though. I was like, I could say this without... What did I say? I can't say this. I can say this. It went lackluster to what the fuck in 0.25 seconds. That's what I sent you.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Because the whole episode, I'm sitting here like, okay, I've got some commentary, like, what the fuck, Gold is quite a few of them. I did we're starting off with a bang. Like, the beginning of the episode, I was like, okay, let's go straight to it.
Yeah.
Dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good point. I was like, oh, he's still dreamy.
Yeah, he is still dreamy.
I wrote, you should be running, Gold, because he should have been running away, but this is, once again, this idiot. If you can't tell, I really don't like Rumpelstiltskin.
Again, if Rumpelstiltskin is your favorite character, I think I've said it before, this podcast may continue to be hard to watch, or hard to listen to, but it's again...
I love Robert.
We love Robert Carlyle. We think he does a phenomenal job with this character, which is why we hate the character so much.
He does it so well. But I love an actor that can play an annoying character or a character you hate really, really well. But Belle's outfit.
The adventure outfit is great, and actually I realized I have the Belle Funko, but from where I'm seated, I can't get up and get it and show you.
Oh.
I'll show you when we're not recording, and I won't mess everything up.
You can post a picture of it on the Instagram, too.
I can post a picture of the Instagram, but yeah, the Belle Funko that they did make is Belle's adventure outfit.
That is such a good outfit.
Yeah.
Like, once again, I'm bowing to the costume department when it comes to this show.
I don't think we ever see this one again, unfortunately.
No! That's just cruel.
So we don't really see her like in most of the flashbacks that we see of Bella after this. Like she doesn't really have adventures like this. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna see more now. More of the flashbacks we'll see of her or during her time with Rumpel, and then other flashbacks we see or other moments might be while Emily is pregnant, so they had to put her in different outfits anyway. But yeah, I want to say going forward, a lot of her flashbacks are focused. If it's not like pre-Rumple, and I know the one I'm thinking of specifically, the pre-Rumple flashback is absolutely her while she's pregnant, or while Emily is pregnant. Um, most of her flashbacks are focused on her time at Rumple's castle.
Okay. I did write, well, he's a dick because
Yes.
men are men, and I mean, and this is only like talking about like the people he was trying to like help and leave with.
Yeah.
Obviously Bella's smart, except for when it comes to men. So
yeah,
like she's so smart, and then men are in the picture, and it's like all her brain cells disappear.
Yeah,
which is really, really worrisome.
She does have her brain cells when it comes to Gaston. I know we only saw him very briefly in season 1. There will be a flashback with him. He's recast. It's a different person. Just I don't know why. They recast him.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. The guy that plays him the second time is phenomenal. She's a little smarter when it comes to Gaston in that situation.
I have a feeling when I watch that, when the time comes, and just be like, how can you see how dumb this guy is? But then still go to Rumpel. How is...
Because with Rumpel, she saw the man behind the beast, and with Gaston, there's only a beast. I don't fucking know.
I don't drink anymore. I am a sober individual. Good God.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I did have that moment of like, is that Milan? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Absolutely it is.
Every time I write down, oh, is that so-and-so? I swear, immediately after I type that, I'm told, yes, it in fact is. And absolutely. I'm like, okay. I do it all the freaking time.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the word penicillin in caps. Because I love when Leroy's like, look, we like, some of the stuff we have here, like penicillin, but we want to go home. And I'm like, dude, I'd keep the modern medicine, I think.
No, but it's fair. That's the realm. Like, yes, I mean, to be fair, they've spent 30 years or so in this realm, because like the way their memories work kind of now, like it's never explained. It's all kind of speculation based off of things that the writers have said. But like they do have roughly 28 years of memories in this land, but that's still their home. That's still where they grew up. It's different.
So they should also be mad at the healthcare system after 28 years in it.
Well, to be fair, it's Storybrooke, so my guess is they probably have a better healthcare system.
Oh, you're right, man.
It's already fake. It's already fake.
That's true. I got very, very excited when Belle stood up to him. Belle stood up to Rumpel, and that was a wonderful moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all went out the window.
Yes, it did.
Very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote, this relationship is getting a little too traditional for me, because what the fuck?
Yeah, him yelling like, I trust that you'll do as I say, just as you trust me to be a better man. Like, no. Because she doesn't trust you to be a better man yet. You've shown her no reason to.
But yes, tell her, no, sit at home, honey. Let me take care of the big scary problem. Like, I had a lot of issues with that whole conversation. I'm just sitting there watching it like, yay, she's standing up to him. Oh my God, I hate him.
Yeah.
Like, I know, I get it. Fairy tale land, maybe there is more of, like, that type of construct.
I mean,
in some of those relationships. But I don't like it.
Yeah, well, because, like, from what we see, from what we see of him in his marriage with Mila, we'll see one more flashback with her, I believe. No, we'll see two more. And in them, we see, we'll see much more. In the one in season 5, we'll see much more of their dynamic, because he is kind of that cowardly man and doesn't do a whole lot. Mila took on a lot of what would be considered the more traditionally masculine things, because Rumple also had his injury, so he can't really. But I think it's almost overcompensation now that he is in a place where he feels stronger. He feels like he can take on what would be considered that traditionally masculine role. So he's overcompensating for what he couldn't do the first time, because I think part of him might still feel like that's what lost him his wife the first time.
Of course my problem with the man is that he's overcompensating.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. What the
And
fuck?
and then we have his lovely revisionist history of what happened with Mila. And like, yes, Killian is being a dick when he like says to Belle, like, if a woman comes to you and begs to be taken, is that really stealing? He's being heavy-handed with it. But
Mm-hmm.
he's basically telling us that's what happened.
But that is what happened.
Because that is it
Yeah.
is what happened. So
Like, we
like,
saw that happen. That's what freaking happened.
just because we don't see the conversation between him and Mila doesn't mean that's not what happened.
But the way they acted around each other, though, when they came back in content with Rumple, that makes me believe is what happened.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
the comment that he makes, like, I see you found the family you can never have with me. Like, they love each other. Like, Mila and
mhm.
Killian love each other. Like, that ship is like a family. Like, that's like, I mean, it has to be. They're on the seas all the time together. There has to be some kind of rapport there with that way that works. But like, no, they are together. Like, they that wasn't a stealing situation. That was a love situation, whether we see it or not. And it's really a shame that all of the things in my head that are of Million is just literally fan fiction because it's never on the show.
I know, and it's gotta suck, though, because, like, that would have been a great thing to see,
Uh
but
huh.
we only get so much of what we want to see because
Exactly.
apparently I got to see misogyny instead of, like, a great feminist, like, character that is Belle. Because if you think about it, she is a great feminist character,
She
and I got
is.
this.
Unfortunately, like, especially with the Mila Killian situation, they are the side characters / the villains in Rumple's story. This is what I say all the time about
Yeah.
Killian. This is what I say all the time about Killian not really being he's not an antagonist for the show. I mean, he does go against the heroes, but quite frankly, he's mostly just out for his own he's out for his own revenge
I mean,
against
morally
Rumple.
gray.
He's
He could
morally
be
gray,
considered just
but
morally gray.
he's morally gray. He's I would say he's more anti-hero. He's not a villain, but
Mm-hmm.
he's anti-hero because pirate. He's only a villain if you consider Rumple to be a hero.
No.
Exactly.
That's my answer to that. No.
Just no. So I never have any issue with the way that Killian kind of earns his redemption because he's never specifically like against our heroes all the time. He's against Rumple, and I'm okay with that.
I did also get very angry. Growing up where I grew up, gun safety is extremely important.
Yes, it
When
is.
he walks out with his finger on the motherfucking trigger
Nope.
and is practically pointing it at Belle, I was yelling at my computer. I'm like, motherfucker.
It's not how you
But
handle a gun.
I was raised with that, though, because I had hunters in the family and stuff like that. You in my upbringing, you learn that as young as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my children already know, like, basic
Like,
safety
I
with these
haven't
things.
I haven't been raised with gun safety, and even I know you shouldn't be doing that.
Yes, you do not do that. Yes, please, even if it is unloaded, do not point a pew pew at an individual, no matter what.
Because you never know what's in it, hence the Alec Baldwin situation.
Exactly. Never, ever, ever. So that had me angry because just on principle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when you're raised with it, it is drilled into you. So like,
Yeah.
so you have these emotions
Mm-hmm.
when you see someone do it, because when you have this strong emotion around it, when someone does do it, like especially in your person,
Mm-hmm.
you are very much inclined to go, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
Instantly, because someone can get very, very, very hurt.
Yeah.
And yes, I know it's a TV show, it's a prop, but like you just said,
I don't care.
Alec Baldwin, that was a whole situation. It's a shitty situation, but even on sets, it can happen.
Exactly.
So I was angry.
Yeah. No.
I was very angry.
Justifiably.
But then we went straight into Badass Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then I did write, how can Belle love this man? Like, seriously, I don't see it. If you do see it, please give me an explanation, because I do not find Rumple to really have any redeeming qualities other than his love with children.
Mm-hmm.
He's great with kids, which is such a weird sentence to say.
He is good with kids and dogs.
He's good with kids and dogs, but God, please stay away from him. Like, what?
Yeah, I think I've said this multiple times throughout the podcast. Based solely on Skin Deep, I would probably ship Rumble based solely on Skin Deep. And the reason why, like, this is always why Rumple tends to be like my least favorite character, is just because, I'm sorry, this is episode's kind of turning into a Rumple bashing session.
I'm not.
If Rumple is, I am, just because I like to maintain my neutral space. But like, if Rumple is your favorite character, this episode just might not be for you.
It's okay if you leave it now. We understand.
We completely understand if you want to join us next week when we talk about Frankenstein and we bash Frankenstein. That's next week.
Yes.
So please join us back when we bash him, because we definitely will.
Do I get to say fuck in the name of Mary Shelley?
Most likely, yeah.
Okay.
So this may not be for you, but this is why Rumple continues to be my least favorite character, is because with so many of the villains on the show as we go forward, like, they do like to give them these sympathetic backstories, and quite frankly, I just didn't find his backstory to be that sympathetic, just personally. It didn't hit home with me, which is a personal experience, and that's okay. But with so many of the other villains, they at least, once they try to redeem themselves and be a better person, they're at least honest about their intentions, and when they make mistakes, they are genuine mistakes. When they do like, backtrack, whatever, for whatever reason, it's either a reaction to something going on in their situation, or they are just, it's a genuine mistake, and they atone for it and they move forward. He admits on multiple occasions that he genuinely makes the wrong decision, or makes the easy decision, which is usually the path of darkness. He admits this. He admits that he's addicted to the power. And then every time that he tries to do something good, he backtracks on it, almost usually intentionally, knowing it's the wrong decision to do, but he'll do it anyway. And everyone continues to believe him, and I don't understand why. Like, it's the continual backtracking. Like, by the end of the show, he's truthfully the only character I personally would say I don't think he earned his redemption the way that he gets it. I think it's too little too late by the time that it happens. And people are like, oh, but he did this, it's a great thing. I'm like, he did a great thing. That doesn't make up for 7 seasons of doing the wrong thing.
Oh, fuck.
So, like, yes, he gets
That's how long it takes?
He gets his happy ending. No, he gets his happy ending and his redemption in the very last episode of the show. But so he gets his happy ending. He gets what he decides that is. But it's, again, after 7 seasons of intentionally doing the wrong thing. No, I'm sorry. Like, at least what I say with Cora, like, Cora is not hardwired to do the right thing. She has no heart in her body. Cruella is one that's going to be like, her line is quite literally, I'm a really terrible person. She knows she's not wired to do any better, so she doesn't. Like, these characters that don't try to be better, they're honest about it. You never know. You never know with him. Because he just thinks he can have it all.
Remember when I say I can't keep my face quiet?
Uh-huh.
That was an example.
I know.
I can't. I'm
well aware.
He gets redemption.
Again, in the last episode of the show.
I'm going to end up, like, hate watching some of this. Like, I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm also going to hate it.
I mean, it's a natural end to that arc, and it quite frankly is the only way that situation could be resolved.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So, like...
Well, that's a very far in the future.
Yeah, that's season 7. That is quite literally episode 722. We got time.
I don't know how I feel about that.
We got time.
I did write what the fuck when it came to Philip. I was like, oh, Philip.
Yeah.
Oh, joy. Philip has returned.
Philip is back.
But then he said Maleficent, and I was like, I'm so ready to see more of Maleficent. I truly, truly am.
I'll talk about my issues with this in a second.
Oh, shit.
Just because
I could just be excited.
No, you
I'm
can
getting
be excited.
More Maleficent soon.
Not. Actually, I would say not soon. Not
ish.
Ish. Okay,
closer than I was a year ago.
Closer than it was a year ago. Because Okay, I'm going to phrase this very delicately. Kristen Bauer does not return until season 4. Maleficent is in season 2, but it is very, very strange.
What are you having me watch?
I cannot elaborate on it. It is just weird. I should actually ask before we get that far. You don't have that fear of, like, small clustered holes, right?
No.
Okay, then we're good.
Isn't that like trachea?
I don't know what it's called.
Something like that.
But you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I find it makes me like go, but it's nothing that I'm like, I can't look at.
But yeah, Daniel is not the last zombie we see this season, and I'm gonna stick with that.
What is this show? The fuck?
I can't tease you about Neil anymore, so this is just how I get my kicks.
You're You're welcome. I don't remember why I wrote Regina's going to be pissed. Why did I write that Regina was going to be pissed?
What's surrounding it?
I didn't put anything. Why is she going to be pissed? Wait a minute.
I don't know.
I wrote this. I forgot. Oh well. We'll
Okay.
have to
Well, we
just
think
guess.
at some point maybe the memory will. Maybe when I read a note of mine, maybe it will come back to me.
Maybe that's when
to
it'll
you.
come back.
I don't know.
I would choose the tower over Rumple. I would.
But you remember Claude?
Do you remember Claude?
That was his backstory. Was Belle pissed him off, and now he's a guard in the tower.
All right, Claude. I wrote really gold littering because he's doing the thing and just throws it, and I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Even littering is not. Mm. And then just all caps. What the fuck just happened?
An outsider has found their way into Storybrooke.
No, but Belle.
Oh, Belle being shot. That too.
I was.
She's not gonna die.
Because I'd started texting you because I was like, okay, I'm a little bit bored. Let me fuck with Lauren a little bit. And so I'm getting into the end of the episode while I'm like talking to you. But no, I'm like, Belle just got shot. And then of course she goes over. And then I'm like, oh my god, no, please not Belle. No.
No, she's not gonna die.
And then the fucker drives in and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? This whole episode was like semi-interesting. Like, I loved seeing Belle. Rumple's fucking annoying. Like, even some of the aspects with Mulan was nice.
Yeah.
And then the last fucking minute of the episode. Because that happened so fast. That's not like 5 minutes. That was like the last 60 seconds. And I'm just sitting here like, what the what?
This season, they've really mastered the art of the cliffhanger.
And I love a good cliffhanger. I do. But not when it's with Belle. Don't, no. I'm not okay.
She's gonna be fine.
She has to be.
I promise you. I told you she's main cast for seasons 2 through 6. She's gonna be fine.
But she's not Belle.
Currently, no. But I think you're gonna like who she turns into. I know you said you don't think you're going to, because I said that her curse persona is less of who she probably would have actually been under the curse and more of Regina just fucking with Rumple. But I think you're gonna like Lacey.
Okay. I can do this.
You can do this.
Everything's gonna be okay. But yes, fine. No, like and that's what's left me at this level of between like just misogynistic Rumpelstiltskin and the last fucking minute of this episode. For 2 days, I've been up here. For 2 days, I've been like, I have to talk about this and I have to wait.
That cannot be good for your cortisol levels.
Oh no. Just in the iced coffee I had this morning on the way to the cardiologist appointment.
Oh dear.
It's not a good idea.
No.
Oh, I was cleared. We're good.
Okay. So I like to start this episode because I noticed this the last time I watched it for my stats rewatch, and now I notice it every time. In Archie's funeral scene, at the faraway shot, Ruby is wearing sunglasses. At the close-up when they pan up from the dog, she is not wearing sunglasses anymore.
I love those little times that stuff
those like little like continuity things. I don't have a ton of fun facts with this one. The wiki gave me a little bit more. I guess before I get into my notes, so the main creature, shall we say, is being used for this season or for this episode, is the Yao Guai. Unlike when they had the Quishen, they called the Wraith the Quishen, I'm like, they just slapped 2 Chinese words together and called it a thing. Yao Guai is actually a creature of Chinese mythology. It's a compound word from Yao and Guai, meaning monster and unusual or strange. Traditionally, they were otherworldly creatures, very similar to like European-style fae. So they don't really have like one physical like way that they're usually represented. They almost kind of seemed a little bit more like sirens with the way that the wiki was telling me, because most of them would have these kind of extraordinary features like exceptional beauty, the ability to seduce or compel. Basically, it's an umbrella term for just kind of eldritch monster, so there isn't one singular depiction. It's just kind of scary thing is basically what Yao Guai is. So that was at least steeped in some level of mythology. This is actually the very first episode where the evil queen appears, but not Regina.
That was interesting.
We don't see her in Storybrooke at all, but we do, because she's currently hiding. We'll see where she's been hiding in the next episode, and who finds her and how that works, and I have feelings. Good or bad, you'll never know.
I'll never know. Well, hopefully one day.
One day you'll know. But apparently, again, during the funeral scene, Keegan Connor Tracy, who plays Mother Superior Blue, was sick with the flu. So if she looks like she's like holding back sobs, what she's doing is making sure she doesn't vomit on the coffin. Apparently, she was very sick that day. Apparently,
Ooh. Ooh.
and this was the last fun fact. Is like this little small thing that I thought this was hilarious because I was going to make a joke about it, but the wiki kind of did it for me. When we get the close up of Mr. Gold's license plate, the expiration date is set for October 2011, which at this point would be expired, but that's the month and year that Emma arrived in Storybrooke.
Ooh.
So his license was set to expire when the curse was
And now
about
he
to
doesn't
start breaking.
care.
I mean, no, yeah, it doesn't. Why change your expiration? It's fine. Why re-register your car? It's fine.
Not while he's also trying to like leave to go find his son.
He is. Well, he'll get there eventually. He'll get to that eventually, but he's not terribly concerned. But the talisman magic for the town line, like the potion being attached to talisman, I like that as an aspect of the potion working, rather than just like drinking the potion and you're good to go. As we see, there will be a concern. I think it's in Tiny. I think it's in 213 about taking the talisman off and how that works. And like, but given the fact that the way they kind of CGI things, I'm like, I'm okay with the fact that he takes it off and it's fine at the end of the day, because it was there to protect him against the initial bout of magic. And then like that's when like your memory should leave you when you cross, but if you're across, then you're good. So like I have no issue with this. I think it works. I think it works just fine. You need some kind of talisman of like who you were, of something important to you,
Yeah.
to kind of maintain your memories, which will kind of continue to be a thing. Is like something that's important to you at who you were, like, is a good way to return memories. I think that is a good way. That's a good bit of world building. I'll give the writers that. But to the thing about Philip and the Yao Guai, and I put in our script wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff, because the timeline of this episode is a little wishy washy.
Okay.
A little bit, because so this takes place concurrently with Dreamy, which is around what I put at 7 BCE roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull up my regular time. Let me pull up my timeline from when I did my original timeline. Because I forgot to include Dreamy in that timeline at all. Somehow I just forgot it. But
this episode was just your little reminder.
Yeah, but the thing, Philip saying that Maleficent cursed him so to keep him separate from Aurora would make perfect sense. And they do, when we do see the episode where Aurora gets cursed, Maleficent does make a comment of, "I have something planned for your prince." So like that's insinuating that. So I put this at 7 BCE.
Okay.
That's this episode. So 7 years before the curse hits. So based off of my timeline, because I mean I know I'm not an expert. I'm making this up as I go along, basically. The episode where we see him, it's alluded that he's about to be cursed to be this being, is set in a flashback where Regina is much younger.
Gotcha.
And we know for a fact it's before Leopold dies, because the very beginning Snow is still in the castle and all well and good. I put that at 12 BCE, so that would imply that he was the Yao Guai for 5 years.
Oh,
it's a long
that's a
time.
Long time.
That's a long time. So this episode, the timeline of it is a little wishy-washy when it comes to these kinds of things, but I already kind of don't care for this episode, so it is what it is. But something that I
which
do
is
like,
fair.
Yeah, which is fair. Like I'm willing to kind of let things slide on episodes that I either really like or kind of just don't care for. If it's somewhere in the middle, I'm gonna get madder about things.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I do actually like about this was something as we're watching this, I'm starting to kind of see more reasons why I consider season 2 to be the most structurally sound season. Because rather than the other seasons of the show that focus their flashbacks and their story structure around one central myth or fairy tale, season 2 focuses on flashbacks that correspond to the story they're telling in the main timeline. The main timeline being, the Korra stuff, what gets set up in this episode that'll lead it into the end of the season. So it's Korra, it's Rumple trying to find his son. They have a central current timeline, and the flashbacks are there to kind of build up to it, versus the other seasons, they kind of focus more on the flashbacks and make the current timeline align with that, which is I feel like it makes it a little less structurally sound because like the season 2 flashbacks are focusing more on providing context for our current timeline, so not pigeonholed into telling one story. Like season 1 was predominantly retelling the story of Snow White with what was going on in the current timeline.
Yeah.
In 3A, we're going to have the story of Peter Pan, and then that's going to coincide with the current timeline. We're in season 4, we're going to have the Snow Queen and the Frozen characters, and how that all kind of coincides. So this season has more room for more story. I feel like has more room for more stories, more so than even season 1 did, because season 1, even though they did have those filler episodes that were about fairy tales that weren't like leading into the Snow White story, because so many of the fairy tales were leading into that Snow White story, it made those extra episodes feel out of place.
Mm-hmm.
This one, if it's feeding into the current timeline, and it all is, because this episode does set up a lot for the plot, even though it is kind of a little of an off kilter from like our main plot lines, it still fits just fine. So I think this one is probably the most structurally sound, because it's not focusing on one central fairy tale, which is kind of what they'll lead into for the rest of the show. So it does kind of just make it a little harder for them to really give us room for these characters.
Yeah.
But something I do love about I've grown to love having these moments of the blooper brain rot.
Oh, always.
Because it makes everything so much funnier, because like we say we're not the biggest fans of Rumple, but like Colin and Bobby's relationship is so much fun to watch. Like when you watch,
can't wait to watch it.
When you watch their interviews and everything, they're just like the two of them are just they're flirting basically the entire time. But the blooper of the elevator scene, when the elevator opens and Rumple is there and Belle walks out, the blooper of that is, I think it's a part of they were planning on doing, but then they didn't realize that the camera has started rolling, so they do look surprised, because I wouldn't have assumed Colin would have just still been on set when they got that shot, but maybe he was. I don't know. I'm assuming because he's in the blooper. But it's the blooper. The elevator opens, and instead of just seeing Rumple, you see Colin and Bobby just hugging.
Oh,
and they're just having a moment. They just having a moment, and then Emily just runs and she's like goes like no, and she pushes him out of the way and hugs Bobby, and just you hear her yell, "Go away!"
I can't wait to see these.
It's gonna be so good. We'll figure out a way to we'll just like screen record it like while you're watching it or something like that. We'll figure out a way to get that, because we didn't do that for season 1, because I think I just needed to send them to you so you could feel better, because you were in not the best.
Oh yeah, I was in a bad
space.
place.
You
was in a bad health place around then.
You had COVID back then, so.
Oh, it is when I had COVID.
It's when you had COVID.
Crap.
Yeah. So.
That's bad that I've had so much health stuff happen that I'm like, wait, which time was this?
Which one was it?
Which one was this? No, I remember that. And it did make me feel better. I laughed my ass off. I cannot wait to do that again. And we're going to record it the next time.
Yeah, we'll record it this time. And like the bloopers, they just get better with each season, because the actors all feel more comfortable with each other. The bloopers just get longer, which is just even better. But everyone feels more comfortable with each other. Colin is also the kind of actor that very much likes to make people break when it's on their coverage. So like, I think the season 7 blooper reel, he's in almost the entire thing. Like,
not surprised.
It's that's just he likes to kind of make sure there's like that kind of levity. You have him and you have Josh together, it's even better.
I mean, that's the same, like, if you watch Friends bloopers, each season gets better and better with the pranks and the jokes they play on each other. Like, when it's when you have a good group, those bloopers can be top tier.
Yeah. But this is one of my favorite lines, because it's done just so well, and it's when, after Emma brings back Pongo, which Emma absolutely would be the kind of partner to just bring home a dog.
Yeah. Very much so.
She'd just be like, there was a box of puppies outside. I brought one home. Like, that would absolutely be her. Her heart is in the right place with, like, someone needs to take care of Pongo, and Henry loved the dog, and Henry is very upset. I did also laugh, this is backtracking, but the same kind of idea, when Henry was calling Archie to hear the voice message, and Snow's reaction is to pick up the other landline. That is not a concept that I feel like today's kids would understand, that that's something you can do.
I never thought of that.
Like, that's not like that. To be fair, a lot of the Storybrooke stuff is dated to begin with. A lot of the stylistic choices were roughly 1960s designed, although those landlines are, I would say, more like 80s.
I need to know for reasons that if you're listening to this and you've never used a landline, can you just leave a comment, please? I need to know just how old I actually am. Like, I had the corded landline, like the one with the cord that actually sat on the wall.
Hmm.
Like, oh shit.
I got asked today what live tweeting was.
What?
Appointment viewing isn't a thing, so live tweeting isn't really a thing. I mean, to be fair, Twitter isn't called Twitter anymore, but live
It's
tweeting
Twitter.
is
I
still
refuse
Twitter.
to call it
I
that.
also refuse to change it. But like without appointment viewing where everyone in the country or everyone in the region is sitting down and watching at the same time, live tweeting doesn't exist anymore.
Have we lost our culture?
Like people made whole platforms on that. That is beside the point. But it's
They did.
it,
People had entire platforms off of live tweeting.
mm-hmm. It's not really a thing. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but like it's much fewer and further between because not a lot of stuff is aired on TV anymore without it instantly being on streaming. So like you didn't have to watch it at 8 o'clock every
See,
week.
now you have like a watching series where somebody films themselves and their reactions and post it to social media, mostly TikTok, of here's what I'm watching and here's I'm going to talk about it, which I've been tempted to do lately because Jessica got me to watch a K-pop, not K-pop,
a K-drama.
K-drama. I'm confused.
Fine. Yeah, that's fair.
I've been very tempted to do that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's fine. A lot of like the tone, the styles, everything, it's all dated. That's kind of by design. So like I would say like the phones they're using, I would say is 80s ish, maybe like 90s designs for the landlines themselves. But it's but like because I actually never put together that Mary Margaret's outfits are very 1960s until she said it on a podcast. Like which makes sense. A lot of the style is.
Yeah, you didn't notice that?
I was never really paying attention to like the era inspiration of her outfits.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't
My brain broke at Lauren saying she was not paying attention to something in her show.
I wasn't paying attention to like the style elements and like the inspiration behind the like the. I was never. I never. When it comes to the Storybrooke clothes, other than Emma's outfits and Regina's because she's Regina, I never really paid that close attention to like the style inspiration.
Which is so weird because you
for Storybrooke,
like you love this character.
I do, but it's for Storybrooke. Like I love picking apart the Enchanted Forest because there's so much more to look at. But it really never occurred to me. But that also makes a lot of sense because 1960s, it gives it a timeless feel. Shush.
I'm no better than a man. Because there is a lot more to look at.
1960s stylistically makes a lot of sense. I'm going to get this point out and then go back to the line that I started with. I had a point. We're getting back there. 1960s makes a lot of sense stylistically because it gives it a very timeless feel. It's a very out of time feel, but it's a very timeless feel. But also because Walt Disney died in the 1960s.
Yeah,
that's why that makes a lot of sense. So that was my point. But we're gonna get back to the line that I was talking about earlier, which was when Emma brought home Pongo and Mary Margaret's making a thing about how it's going to be a little cramped in the loft, which she's not wrong with 3 adults, a child, and a dog. And she's like, maybe we should look into moving into our own place. And Emma goes like, isn't this what we all want after 28 years spent on the same roof? Yes. I just imagined a bigger roof with turrets.
Oh, I loved that. And I did not mean to pull you away from your point, but that was funny.
It was
funny. You were laughing, so you're not that mad at
No,
me.
I'm not that mad. We got so far derailed from the point.
I blame my brain.
I started with, I had a line I want to talk about. Nope, now we're talking about costumes. Now we're making fun of Lauren for not paying attention to things. Like, what?
With love.
With love. Absolutely with love. I did clock the two times that Hook was knocked on the floor. Hook floor, I don't remember exactly what the ship is called. I'm sure there's a name for
That's
it.
That's a ship?
Hook floor, just because he falls down a lot. Like, there is also the ship of him and the Jolly Roger, but that's also because people used to write as like the personified version of the Jolly Roger. Yeah. That one is more... What? That one makes a little more sense if you take it in the context of, like, you know the Doctor Who episode where, like, the essence of the TARDIS gets put into Sharon Jones?
Oh.
It's if you think about it like...
That makes sense.
You think about it like that.
Now, the original sentence was very much a what the fuck, but when you put it in the context of that, yes.
No, it's not him loving the ship a la the person who thinks that she's married to the Eiffel Tower. That's different. Have I never sent you those videos? I feel like I have.
No?
I can't in good conscience recommend you watch them. They're a little nuts, but I will send them to you if you want them.
I'm sorry. Did you say there is somebody who is in love with the Eiffel Tower?
Yes, there are people that she thinks she's in love. She thinks she's married to the Eiffel Tower. She's also in a like again. These videos are old. So I don't know if this
Okay.
is still. I don't know if this is still the case in her situation.
I
But
mean, I
in
know it's
in
an
the
actual
videos
thing that there are people that can feel romantic feelings
for
for
inanimate,
objects.
yes, but that same woman, at least from the videos. Again, these videos are probably like from like the early 2000s. Um,
Okay, so our
it was
childhood.
our childhood. Yeah. It was the Eiffel Tower and the Golden Gate Bridge. One of her friends um, was in a relationship with the Empire State Building and also an amusement park ride.
Okay, the amusement park ride kind of makes sense if you think about it, though. At least you can ride it. Don't look at me like that. I'm not wrong.
I absolutely will look at you like that.
But it's true.
But yes, where have we gone? I'm not kidding when I say I cannot wait to show you the clips of the women that play Cruella, Ursula, and Mal.
Oh, I
Kristen
can't
Bauer.
wait.
Because quite literally, this is what happens in those interviews: is they will go on a tangent, and one of them at some point will just go, "Where have we gone? Like
Oh, that does.
what was the question? We need someone to pull us back in the room, and we don't have one of my moderators here to be like, guys, you
I was
had a
gonna
point,
say,
get back to it." Well, I
do we
think
need to have a moderator in recording?
maybe we do need some. We need a producer to be like, okay, you had a point 5 minutes ago. Go back to it.
How much does that cost?
I don't know.
Who wants to look? We can put someone in the audience and just give them like texting ability of like, okay, you had a point. It's been 3 minutes.
Go back. Stop.
Go back.
But
then they have to like sign an NDA. You can't say. I'm just kidding.
No,
we're not that serious.
We're not that serious.
We're not that serious.
We are absolutely not that top secret. So after all of those chaos points, what did you score this episode? I'm dying to know.
Now I told you, you would be surprised.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think you're gonna be like really, really surprised. For plot and personal, I gave 5s.
Okay.
But for character, I gave 10.
So it's a 20.
So it's 20. Obviously, we know why I gave plot and personal 5.
Yeah.
While I love Belle and I really enjoy Mulan and a lot of these characters, there is a such thing as too much Rumple.
Yeah.
Especially that Rumple of I am men. No, thank you. The plot was interesting, but yet, like, the whole time you're kind of bored, which made me really, really disappointed.
Yeah.
Because it's a Belle episode, and I'm like, I don't want to be disappointed watching a Belle episode.
No, that's fair.
Character gets 10 because every character acted exactly as they were expected to with the way these characters have gone thus far.
It's fair.
While that pisses me off, especially with Belle, they all panned out to do exactly what I expected them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
okay.
That's why I did it that way, because I'm actually not mad that Hook did what he did, because that's to be expected. Belle is being dumber than she should be, but that's why personal's low. But she's doing exactly what her character is expected to do. My problem is I don't like the beast that we have. I love our Belle. I don't like our beast.
It's fair.
And so the beast is still doing his job.
Okay.
Reluctantly.
So
it's a weird score.
So it's a 20, right? That's how that total works.
2 5s and a 10.
I was not as generous as you.
I mean, I wasn't that generous. Well, kind of.
Oh wait, no. just you wait.
Oh God.
So plot and personal each get 4s.
Okay, we're not far off there
currently. Because this is an episode that, quite frankly, I could move past it, and like the only thing it sets up is the next episode picks up right where this one lets off at the town line with the guy's car's crashed. Rumple's gonna get at Killian for shooting Belle, and he's gonna heal her, and she's gonna be confused. Like it sets up that, but plot wise, truthfully, just literally nothing happens. Rumple spends the whole time trying to get his shawl back, and then gets it back, but then can't use it. That's the end of the episode. That's the plot we have. And again, it's very Rumple heavy. The amount of Belle that I enjoy in the episode just doesn't overtake. Like, honestly, the personal points might have more to do with Killian than with Belle, honestly, in this episode. Because he's he is entertaining to watch, and like he just like I love watching Colin in these scenes because he has chemistry with everybody. He just has that kind of personality. Um, which is why the character points get what they get. Honestly, it gets 5 character points because Killian is the only one that I like in this episode.
That's fair.
That gives it a 13.
Wow.
This is the lowest rated episode so far.
Well, like, so much could have been changed in this episode to
Mhm.
make it better, and it wouldn't have changed much of the plot, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion. Like,
This is like there are episodes that like, and truthfully, there will be episodes that I absolutely give far lower scores. I was thinking about this last night of when we'll finally see my first 0 in a category, because I know when it's coming. It's going to be in season 3, but that's why I would say season 3's got some high highs and some low lows. Because season 3 is going to have like my first 0s, but also like I would say at the minimum 3 30s, which is like let's say high highs and low lows. So. But I was thinking about those episodes and why I consider those they'll be 0s for certain reasons. I'm like, because I could skip that episode and not miss anything. Like the flashback, the current timeline, you're not missing anything that you don't already know about these characters and that you couldn't just like piece it together. Like, oh, that's where they got that. Okay. Done. I don't need to know the context.
It really
like
wasn't needed.
So like this is one where like there is stuff in there that I enjoy. I like watching Killian act. I like all of that. But at the end of the day, it's just other than Captain Beauty because they're fun to watch together.
Oh, they're very fun to watch
because he flirts with everybody. Killian and Colin flirts with everybody basically. So
I feel that
it's a good time. So how are you feeling about some of our non-canon ships? Obviously, Rumbell is not enjoyable, but some of our non-canon ships you've seen so far.
I'm sad they're not canon.
Yeah,
like there's so many things that could have been done, which we're not the writers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why fan fiction exists.
Why fan fiction exists. We cannot make the things happen other than in fan fiction.
Not to put you on a tangent, but I do find it interesting that like we're seeing a lot of discussions in this current time of recording of people talking about fandoms and shipping and why it's so much like it's gotten so much crazier. With a lot of people are now upset in different fandoms that like when people have a non-canon ship, they're like, no, that's not possible. You can't do that. And it's like,
because
you can.
Somewhere along the way, I don't really know what happened. I don't know when this happened or where this started. I'm sure it's been happening the entire time, and people are just getting louder because that's the way the internet works. We've lost this. Some creator said this right. They said this the perfect way. Is somewhere along the way, we've lost the art of the crack ship and the rare pair. Basically, meaning we've lost the art of shipping characters simply for the fact of they would look cute together, or like it's fun to think about, and not that and like. Rather than focusing on their canon plausibility. Like, everyone's argument against a lot of ships is, well, that would never happen in canon. Like, I don't care. I've shipped characters that never met in canon, never would meet in canon. The only photos I have of the two characters together is the actors at a convention. Like, or one time I did a ship thing. It was like, this is what your favorite ship says about you. And like, I picked one. The two actors were never on screen at the same time. I had to make an edit of just them together so I could make a point. Like, I do not care about the canon plausibility of any of these ships. They are chaos.
They're a lot of fun, though, if you think about it, though. They are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because we've had so much fun with Spoon Queen, and I really love Red Beauty, and stuff like that. Now, apparently, I get to fantasize about Killian Floor. Like...
Hook Floor.
But, Hook Floor, thank you. I couldn't remember which one they went with.
I think it's Hook Floor.
But also learning more about, like, how when you're actively watching... That's what I think we've lost, too. When everybody's watching at the same time and it's that episode, you have to sit down that night. When you go to your forums, you're able to discuss everything like that day, which kind of still happens for like a big Bob's Burgers group that I don't really participate in a ton anymore. But they're still able to do that. They will start whole threads of like, this is where you can talk about it. If you don't want to see it, don't click this.
Yep.
But that only happens so much now because most people, like a lot of us Bob's people still do. We don't really, we watch the next day, but
yeah.
We have lost the art of television. Yeah. We have.
We've lost the art of individualistic enjoyment of these shows and focus so much on the big fandoms. I'm like, yes, the canon ships are going to have big, or like, at least like the most canon plausible ships. Because I'll look at Husker Dust. They're not technically, they're not an actual canon ship on the show, but that's a big fandom for Hasman Hotel. Like Swan Queen, Captain Swan, Swanfire, Outlaw Queen. Those are our canon ships. Those are big, big sections of the fandom. But, like, and yes, I'm not gonna find fics of my favorite ships because they were mostly me and my friends that thought they were entertaining. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna find other people's versions of them. And that's okay. I've always been the kind of person that's like, if you can't find it yourself, I'm gonna just make it myself. Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I don't find, let me, what are what's some of
You're
the,
the reason Murphy's Law exists.
I
I
really am. What
don't.
is it, like, if you think it exists, it absolutely does, but I'm trying to think of what's the weirdest one that I can tell you that'll make sense without context. Like, truthfully though, I've written so many weird ships that do not make any sense in canon whatsoever, mostly because one character is usually dead half the time. um
Okay.
yeah, no, because most of my ships, I was like, this is the one that always comes to mind that you'll have context for, because one of them is Mila and Zelina, which the characters never met, never would have any reason to meet.
I'm sure there's wonderful reasons for it.
Actors just, there's great reasons why they'd never meet, but the actors just look.
Oh, I meant that people would put them together.
Oh no, yeah, that's mostly me and my friends. It's because the actors look hot. It's two hot women with British accents. I'm sorry, I'm weak. So there's that. But
I mean, that's like, it makes me think of Ted Lasso then.
exactly,
Because I would love Juno and Rebecca together. They're
absolutely.
adorable. And they're in screen together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And even though Juno's character does end up also being, I want to say bisexual,
Yeah, I think so.
those two characters are never, like, you can ship, I shipped those characters, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
ship them. I ship Juno and Rebecca's characters. Never gonna happen.
No, not at all.
But I can
Well,
think about it.
we can think about it, and that's fine. The ship that you'll have context for that you were like, what the fuck, is the one that we had to dub it Captain Swan Artist, because that's the triad of Killian, Mila, and Emma, because Mila's thing has to be artist because she doesn't have one. But basically, the premise of that one happening is basically, but what if Mila came back from the dead, and why make him choose just all triad? Why have love triangle when you can have polyamory? That is my question.
I may need to read fan fiction.
Unfortunately, as far as I can tell, I don't think there are any actual fics of that exist. It's just the stuff that my friends and I wrote, as far as I can see. It's that niche. It's just people that I knew.
Okay, but can you turn that fan fiction into a book and sell it?
It would involve writing a central man character, and I'm bad at that.
Ooh, that's fair.
Like, I'm good at the side men characters, like the guy that's the husband of one of the main characters in one of my books. He's a great side character. I don't know if I'd ever be able to give him the amount of depth he'd need to be a main character.
Would you like some help?
When I eventually get back to writing that series.
One day.
I have so many things on the docket first.
Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers Season 4, Episode 15, The Kids Rob a Train, and Episode 16, I Get Psychic Out of You. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our new book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.